Hello, 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 everyone. So, welcome to the Empowered ECE. I am so excited to have this show finally get on its way. It took a little bit of time, but I'm so excited to get this show underway because I want to have some real conversations about the field, real conversations about what's happening, the opportunities, just things that will help the field feel empowered, grow, and feel inspired. So I'm definitely excited for this. The first episode will be with no other than Carla Ward, the CEO of ELF Foundation. She's going to be joining me soon. But the first episode is all about entrepreneurship in ECE and basically taking a look at beyond the classroom. I know a lot of us are feeling as if, we're looking for a little bit more. Not to say that the classroom isn't enough. The classroom is the most important part of this field, but sometimes you might want a little bit more. So I wanted to kind of expose everybody to the world outside of the classroom, and I'm doing a few series of individuals coming on to talk about entrepreneurship. So I'm going to give a couple minutes. Hi to everybody that just joined on. Thank you. I'm trying to do a mix of different times for these shows because I know not everybody can make it in the middle of the day. So we're going to have some in the morning, some in the afternoon, some in the evening, some on the weekends. So we're going to do a stretch of different ones. So yes, I am super excited to have all of you here. Hi guys. And we're going to be talking about art, entrepreneurship. We're going to be talking about mental health, actually. I am super excited about that topic. Mental health in ECE is super important. But anyways, let's see. Oh, I see Carla here. So let's bring her on in. Hi, Carla.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. We're finally together. Awesome.
Yes,
I love it.
and I'm glad that worked.
Right? I was so nervous. I was like, watch, it's going to be my Instagram that just completely falls over. So we're good to go.
Perfect. Well, I've actually turned it to my data rather than my Wi-Fi just in
Oh,
case.
that's so smart. I totally should. Anyways, it's fine. We'll be good. No worries. But yes, thank you so much for joining me. So let's jump right in there. So tell us a little bit more about who Carla is.
So my name is Carla Ward. I'm an early childhood educator. I've been in ECE for over 17 years. Or coming up to 17 years. So I've actually been in ECE longer than the College of ECEs has actually been in existence.
Love it.
Yeah, I think I've only been in REC for like 13 or 14 years. So I remember when the college came into play. I'm the owner of Early Learning Foundations and the host of the Everything ECE podcast. So that's me in a nutshell in terms of my ECE world and what I do. ELF or Early Learning Foundations is an education company for everybody. So we work with students from kindergarten to grade 10 for tutoring online. And then we work with people, educators, early childhood educators who are looking to become entrepreneurs, who are looking to up their game as a director or up their game in the classroom. So
amazing. I love it. And I know a lot of people are watching right now because they are eager to learn more about entrepreneurship and what that looks like in ECE. So let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to your ECE journey. Where did it start? A little fun fact, me and Carla, actually, I totally have to tell everybody, we totally work together. We
yes.
work together in our past ECE lives. And one thing I remembered about Carla is how amazing her classroom setups were. Your classroom setups were absolutely phenomenal. From how you engaged with the children. So from the beginning, you were phenomenal ECE. But anyways, I'm going to let you tell your ECE story.
Oh, no, I think you should keep going. Kind of like that. Well, thank you. So I graduated from Sheridan College at 19. So I've had a lot of roles over my 17 years. Started as a toddler teacher, then a school age teacher, then a preschool teacher, and then I found my people, and those are kindergartners. I landed an awesome job as a co-kindergarten teacher, and it was my calling. Kindergartners just get me. They've got that sarcasm. And I worked underneath a woman that was truly amazing and really pushed me hard. Like, she pushed me hard because, 21, I knew everything, right?
Right.
And I could have run a classroom on my own. And then what ended up happening was they went to full day kindergarten in the school system. And I was like, ooh, I don't know what's going to happen to kindergarten and childcare. So started looking at other options. And a parent asked me to tutor her son. And that was his grade 1 year, and I just watched him go off to university and got to watch his education journey all the way through. And I actually have quite a few students who I started at that school with that I've just sent off to uni. So huge in that sense. And then from there, I realized I could help more students by helping more educators, right? You can only do so much in a classroom. You can only do so much in a one-on-one environment as a tutor. So I started teaching other early childhood educators. And for anybody looking to become a speaker or an entrepreneur, my advice to you is pick up the phone and make the phone call. That's how I started. I called an organization and I said, hi there, my name is Carla Ward. I'm an early childhood educator, and I want to talk to other ECEs about, I think at the time it was classroom environment or meaningful relationships, like something that I was really passionate about. And they're like, okay, great, send us your resume. And it kind of started from there and trickled, and everything I've kind of landed has been from me asking. So don't wait for opportunity to come to you. Just pick up the phone, make the phone call, say, this is who I am. This is how I can help you. And this is how I can do it to help. And this is how we can get it started. So anybody starting out, pick up the phone. Like, just ask for what you want, and you'll get it. I mean, you're going to hear no sometimes, but that's part of it, right? That's part of the journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? I always tell clients I work with, there's power in no. There's power in no for so many reasons. For one reason is a no can sometimes be a maybe, right? Yep. They might say no at that specific moment, but looking down the line, they may need you at another time. And no could also be a learning experience. There's feedback sometimes they give you in terms of what you can do to match what they're looking for and come back around as well. So I love that tip. Absolutely. Great. Okay. So next question is, I guess the biggest question is just how you got into entrepreneurship. I know you spoke a little bit about, making those phone calls. What was it like making that choice, I guess, to take the leap?
So I quit my job 3 times to become an entrepreneur.
I love it.
And the first time I quit, it was great. I was single. I thought I knew what I was doing. And, you don't realize, I think I was 22 when I first quit my job to run my own business. And I grew really, really fast, and I wasn't charging enough. But I had to pay rent, right? When you live on your own, those bills don't stop. So then someone's like, well, there's a program in a high school where they work with high schoolers. Are you interested? Sure. So landed up working there. And if you're a true entrepreneur, like, all you're doing when you're not working on your business is dreaming about working on your business.
Absolutely. Eat, sleep, and drink. But not drink, but anyways, you know what I mean? Your business. Everything is your business.
And that's exactly it, right? And I mean, I'm an obsessive learner. So, I learned so much from working with high schoolers and working with preschoolers. But then unfortunately, the high school teachers, the unions went on strike. So I lost my job and landed back up in entrepreneurship. And it was great because I was excited to be back. So then later we're going to talk a little bit more about this, but one of the things that kept drawing me back to working for other people was other people's fear, right? Fear that I'm not going to pay my rent, fear that, you're supposed to be working a 9-to-5 job. And I'd go to these 9-to-5 jobs and I'd be like, but I don't want to be here, right? And then my old boss called me from my kindergarten program, and a supervisor position had opened up. And I mean, anybody who's an ECE with an entrepreneurial or leadership goal, we want to be supervisor. And most of us who have that goal also want to own our own childcare centers. So I was like, this is perfect. And it almost killed me. Like, I love leadership. I loved my team. I mean, I could not have had, and Anisha, this team. I mean, I could not have asked for a more amazing group of people, like, honestly and truly. But I wasn't willing to let go of my entrepreneurship job. So I was working 2 40-hour jobs. And I mean, the board of directors was amazing, and they let me go to kindergarten and step down to supervisor. And it was great. But then I'm in the classroom and I love classroom environment. It's classroom environment, communication with children, how we speak to children is so important. And I was like, I should be teaching this. I should be teaching other ECEs how to do this. I should be inviting ECEs into my classroom so that they can see this in action. And if you are currently in the classroom and thinking about doing this, start documenting and taking photos, because that was one of my biggest regrets, was not taking enough photos of stuff that like provocations I had set up. Took tons of the kids, forgot to take my journey, pictures of my personal journey. So finally I was like, okay, I quit. And then a friend opened a private school, and it was for children with brain injuries. And what an incredible opportunity, again, to make a difference, to work with children who had catastrophic brain injuries. So moved to that school, and again, loved it, loved kindergarten, couldn't let go of the entrepreneur side of it. And all the while doing that, I was also taking my certification as a wonder-based teacher. So it got a little nutty, and finally I was like, I got to do it. And by this time, we're talking 4 years ago. So I've been doing this back and forth for a decade. Nobody was surprised when I finally quit. They were like, yep, you need to be running your own business because you're not willing to let it go. So you need to give it 110%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I definitely can relate 110% about that itch. It's that entrepreneur itch that you get no matter what role you play in the field. It's all rewarding. Don't get me wrong. Being a supervisor, you nailed it. Having a supervisor position, being able to see not just the side of the classrooms and the day-to-day, but also the business and operational side of it. It really gives you insight on the business side of things. But there's just that itch of getting into entrepreneurship that doesn't go away until you try it. So those that are thinking about it, just feed into the itch. Feed into it, give it a try. That one step can really, really make a big difference. Absolutely.
Without a doubt. And I mean, it's great, but when you do run your own business and you're doing the other business's paperwork, you're like, I really need to be doing this at my business. So yeah, you need to scratch that itch for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. So the next question I have for you is, so I love having conversations about the real part of what we're doing. And so I definitely have to ask you, what is the hardest part about entrepreneurship for you? What is the part that you feel that you struggle the most with, that you're working on possibly?
I'm going to be blunt. It was the money for sure. I mean, despite us already making garbage as ECEs, at least a consistent paycheck, right? So definitely be aware that if you're in a center that makes benefits or has benefits, God love you, but because that's something I haven't experienced in a long time, is those benefits go away when you start working for yourself at the beginning, right? So be very aware of that. So money was always something on the forefront that you definitely want to be aware of. And the other piece is that security, right? Things, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail at something. You're going to trip up. You know, you're going to start something that didn't turn out to be what you wanted it to be. And that's okay. And it's okay to cry. If you don't cry as an entrepreneur, you are not taking enough risk.
Anybody that knows me knows I cry daily. I cry daily, and it's okay.
And it's 100% okay, because it means you're on the right track. And it means you need to evaluate, right? Like, I mean, it is an emotional roller coaster because you're going to at some point be like, I should just go back. I should just go back. And maybe that is the answer for you. Like, I'm not saying that's not the answer. But at the same time, it's about reflection, because one bad day does not mean you're bad at this. Because it's hard. It's really hard. I wrote it down because I had a third thing, and of course you think I know. Oh yes, other people's egos and fears. That is a big part. That was definitely something that I had to really become comfortable with myself and my ego. Like, I had to make sure that my ego wasn't driving the bus, but also I stayed in positions way too long because I was afraid of hurting other people's feelings. I was afraid of pissing other people off. And that's not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Like boundaries is something that I think is easy. Is we want to give so much of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and we can't. We do have to take care of ourselves first. And that's why
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned the money thing, because you still have to pay rent. So don't be
Yeah.
giving discounts because you can't afford to when you're starting out. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if that one client moves on because you couldn't give them a discount. The client that's going to pay full price, that's going to give you way less hassle,
Mm-hmm.
is the one you're waiting for.
Mm-hmm. Love that. Love that. That's an excellent tip, actually. And that's something I am still digesting
Yeah,
and
me too.
learning till this day.
Oh, yeah.
Because
And
you want to help
I don't
everybody.
mean don't give discounts. I
Yeah.
just mean experience has taught me the client that asks for the discount usually is the one that requires most of your time.
Yes. Absolutely. I wish I could like triple like what you just said, because that's exactly what it is normally. And you know what? I love that you mentioned about fear, because I think it's always great to align yourself with other people that are on the same path as you. That are on the same path as you. You know, friends and family, they will support you, and that's great. But their support can only go so much because they don't understand the vision that you have for what you want to do, right? So definitely making sure that you're listening to yourself and kind of being in a circle of people on the same journey as you is really important. And then another part that you mentioned is in terms of being an ECE. We're not always built to be business people sometimes, because we are super nice, we're caring, we love to empty our glass and support people, families, community, children as much as possible. So kind of finding a healthy balance between that is super important too. And one of the big parts that I know for myself and listening to you as well, that we really have to dip into, because we're going to want to give everything. And then we look back and really look back at our entrepreneurship story and say, oh, it might not have been worth it, but it's really because we took the wrong steps in the process.
Yes, I'm reading Boundary Boss by Terry Cole right now. And one of the things she said, oh, it was really good, because boundaries is definitely something I struggle with. And there's the sense of urgency that, like, for me personally as a yes person, it's when somebody's asked for a favor, there's a sense of urgency for me to answer the question. And one of the strategies in Terry Cole's book is take a breath. Just take a breath. And I'm now working on, I hear your question. Can I get back to you tomorrow with an answer?
Love it.
And it's been liberating, I think. I've done it twice in the last week, and it has been amazing because the response has been absolutely, take your time. Oh, so I can actually think about it.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. That's actually, what's the book called again?
Boundary Boss.
Oh, I love that. I'm definitely going to be looking. Anybody that's looking, that's a great book. Okay, so my next question for you kind of goes along the same lines of what we're saying, but looking at your ECE journey and your entrepreneurship journey, is there anything from your ECE journey in terms of skills and things that you've learned along the way that you've brought to your entrepreneurship story or journey?
100%. Communication and relationships. And they kind of work hand in hand. Whether you're a team of one, whether you are dealing with clients or students, communication and building those relationships, again, with those boundaries, but also making sure that there's respect between you and your team or you and your client, going both ways, right? It's not, you're not somebody that's just there to have stuff taken from them. So using communication, using those I statements that we know so well as early childhood educators, we can absolutely use them in our day-to-day life when communicating with other people, communicating with agencies that we are working with. And also making sure to communicate. Like, not answering an email for a week is not okay. And that's kind of something we don't get taught as ECEs unless we're working with parents, is there is protocol to email etiquette and texting and making sure that you have your set hours, whether your hours are 5 to 10 p.m. or 5 to 10 a.m. That's up to you. That's the joy of working for yourself, is making sure there is communication. I hate surprises, which is why I am such, like, communication is one of my core values for my business. Communication and efficiency are two of them, because I do not like to be surprised. So if something might not work out, just give me a heads up. And I am very clear with that up front with people, because then they know what I need, and then I ask them what they need so that we are both on the same page.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. And I don't want to shy away how powerful your company is. How many tutors? How many is on your team? How many people on your team right now?
So we are a team. We just brought on a resource consultant. So we are a team of 8 right now. Yes, I think we're a team of 8
Amazing.
now. Yes. So
Amazing.
yeah, we are an incredible team. And again, strong communication, and we're all virtual. We've got
Hmm.
teams in Nova Scotia. Most of us are in Mississauga. So our communication is so important, and we get together every quarter and we do a quarterly book study. That's our big team
Yes.
building
Yes.
every year.
I love that. How have you found the book study? Because you know what, I'm starting to build my team on my side as well. It's such an interesting area to be in, especially when you're growing a business, because when you've run a business on your own as an entrepreneur, especially as an ECE, you get used to operations on your own. But then when
Yeah.
you're teaching it to a team and you putting yourself in a position of leadership within your own business, there's a different struggle that happens there. So tell me a little bit about, you doing the book study and all of these new initiatives to kind of grow your team and support your team.
So the book study is great. And again, this is where communication comes in on how I choose the books, is it also will come down to what we're struggling with. So our first book was Limitless Mind by Joe Buller. Way too intense for us to kick it off. Like, it was like this thick, and we literally took 3 months to read this thing. Our next book was Teach Like a Pirate, little lighter, and the author actually came on and talked to us, and that was incredible. And he was able to answer questions about how we transfer it to tutoring. Everybody's stressed out right now. I don't care who you are, what you do. I just have found that anybody I've spoken to, January has just been, it's been crazy.
It literally kicked my ass. Yeah.
Yeah, just like I did nothing in January. Like, every week I'd meet with my administrative assistant. I'd be like, listen, I don't know what our goals are this week. Like, I'm just trying to wake up right now.
My goal is to survive.
Yeah, exactly. So based on conversations with my team and myself, I picked the book You Are a Badass, because I felt like we needed to work on ourselves a little bit before, so that we could bring it towards our students rather than focusing on something teaching. So it really was something self-reflective, and then looking at my team and getting their input as well for what they needed.
Oh, I love your entrepreneurship story, because like, you started out with just on your own, just kind of doing the tutoring on your own, and then you grew your team. So Carla is definitely a proven fact that entrepreneurship in ECE is possible. I love that. So looking at, where you are now, what would you say is the most rewarding part about what you do?
For me, knowing honestly that I'm making a difference. I mean, I have seen a difference even in social media and Instagram. ECEs are making headway. Like, I am connecting with more people on Instagram who are powerhouses in the ECE world, yourself included, and just watching us get on the map. Like, my mission for why I do what I do on Instagram and getting in front of other ECEs is I want to make early childhood education one of the most respected professions. I am determined. I mean, I would hope after the last 2 years, people realize how much they actually need us in their lives. Not sure everybody got that memo just yet, but they will.
Not yet.
They will. So really, like, I want us, when somebody says they're going to school to be an ECE, I want it to be met with such awe and impressiveness. And maybe that's my ego coming through, but I have worked so hard to stuff, let's say that, when people have used the word just before our title. I have hung up on people who have used that, and they have called back and apologized. And I mean, that is why I work so hard for our profession, and that's why I'm on Instagram and promoting early childhood education, because we kick ass. Like, we are rock stars. We are building, we are helping, like, shape the future. We are giving 0 to 12-year-olds like a pathway and hope and support. And we are really growing the future. And if people aren't going to see it, I'm going to help them see it.
Oh, I love that. We're going to force them to see it. We're going to be everywhere.
Exactly.
And a bunch of people that are following and listening too. I know we've got some powerhouses in the audience, the virtual audience now. So love it. So dwindling down to the end of what we're saying and doing, not me losing my train of thought. Anyway, sorry. So you did share a little bit. I did share a little bit about your advice for ECEs looking to get in entrepreneurship? So I think you mentioned in terms of just making those phone calls, getting out there. Is there anything else you can think of in terms of an advice for an ECE that is just itching to take that step, but just a little bit hesitant?
You're never going to be ready. Like, that's the reality. You're never going to be fully ready. However, that doesn't mean quit your job. Like, I mean, if you are not in a position to quit your job, don't. But it will say, I'm going to make my mother so proud saying this right now, get your books in order. I would say I am probably the worst bookkeeper on the face of the earth. My mom is a bookkeeper. Like, it's embarrassing. Oh,
it's so funny.
Like, every April, I am pulling receipts stuffed all over my car. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, if
Me too. Oh my goodness. My girlfriend is always laughing at me because I have all of my receipts. She's probably watching. All of my receipts just shoved into my wallet, and I'm like, it's okay. I need to expense it.
Oh, at least yours are in your wallet. Mine are in the visor of my car. So whenever I drive somebody, they pull it down. It just rains receipts. So, but on that note, though, keep your receipts, people. But also, like, use something like QuickBooks. I think I even have a discount code if anybody wants it. QuickBooks is great. Like, start tracking. Even if you're the only person on your team, you will be so glad that you are able to watch how much money is coming in and going out. It took me a really long time to learn that one. So as an entrepreneur. And stop taking courses. If you are on like your 9th business course, you're good. Just do it. Because the next best step is to just go through experience. Like, business courses are great. I've taken some really phenomenal ones, but you still have to learn from experience. It's the same when we were ECEs. You know, our theory was great in school, but our placement was really the most beneficial learning tool. Right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. Sorry. Trying to learn. I should turn off my notifications. My goodness. Sorry. Anyways, last part of this. This has been so much fun. I don't want to let you go. But anyways, the last part of this is the promo pitch. So I know that you do a lot of professional learning experiences with those that I know we have a lot of childcare owners and supervisors here that are listening. What is your promo pitch? What is it that you want to offer my amazing community here?
So March 1st, doors open to Mastering Childcare staff meetings. I am a huge promoter of having effective and efficient staff meetings. We have all been in staff meetings that should have been an email. It is one of my biggest pet peeves, is having people's time wasted and having my time wasted. Because as a supervisor, we really do not have time to waste. So I put together a course that takes you from planning the course all the way to implementing to following up, putting systems in place that are going to make your life easier and make sure that your staff meetings are collaborative, are efficient, and people are taking action. So the doors open March 1st, but in the meantime, if you go to elfoundations.com/mastering meetings, I have a free download to help you optimize your staff meetings right now.
Love it. Oh, that is a ticket. I don't know how many times I've been in a staff meeting that really could have been an email. So having very, very efficient staff meetings could be great, because communication, as you said, with your team and stuff like that as well, is really important to be able to get people together to have conversations about what's happening within the daily operations of the center, but making sure you're using the time effectively is really, really important. But I love that. But yes, amazing. So that is it. Thank you.
This has been so much fun.
I know. And I know we can kind of talk forever, but it's okay. We'll have another live Zoom or whatever with us so we can have a conversation offline.
Yes.
And thank you so much for joining me. It is so amazing to have you, especially for my very first live that I'm actually doing on my own, which is pretty cool. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me, Carla.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.